Welcome back. This is Guide for Them once again. You started. Please, after watching this video, do not forget to comment, subscribe, and leave your message. This is very important. Guide for Them is back today for our sudden news. A Kenyan novelist, giant Ngugi wa Thiong'o dies. This man here is African literary icon and acclaimed author Ngugi wa Thiong'o has died in the United States of America. He was 87 years. He was a passionate advocate of writing in indigenous African languages, notably Kikuyu, to resist colonial legacies and elevate African identity through his groundbreaking works. This man, as we can see here, as I said, his works including The Upright Revolution, which has been translated into over 100 languages, and the radical play in Gahika led to his imprisonment by the Kenyan government, that time President Daniel Arap Moi, in 1977. Now, let's watch at something here. As we can see, brothers and sisters, if you know nothing about this Kenyan novelist, literature icon called Ngugi wa Thiong'o, please, this man I'm talking about, you can Google and find more about him. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, the Ionic Kenyan writer, as I said, an activist, has died once again at the age of 87, leaving behind a literary legacy that continues to revolutionize education across Africa. His death marks the end of an era, as I may say. His death marks the end of an era, but his influence lives on from the time he started his writing in 1964 on the classroom. Libraries, literacy festivals throughout the continent of Africa will be looking for this great man, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. For decades, Ngugi novels were cited in favor of European classics, but today his works are central to how students engage with history, culture, and critical thinking. From Weep Not Child, let me have that one for you because I read Weep Not Child when I was in secondary school. That's the oldest cover, Weep Not Child. I think this was Weep Not Child was his first novel book, literature book that was widely. These are some of his books. Yes, I can see. Let me see this copy here. Weep Not Child. Njorige. I read this book when I was in secondary school back in Ghana. From Weep Not Child to Petals of Blood. His stories portray Africans' colonial and post-colonial experiences through the eyes of ordinary people, as I can see. Narratives that resonate deeply with African learners. You know, Ngugi stories has given African students something they've long been denied: a chance to see themselves in literature. His characters, speaks to our past, clearly speaks to our past and present in ways that Western texts never tell us. Western texts never tell us. This is one of his book, The Perfect Nine. Let me enlarge it. And you have many here. Let me go forward. Maybe I'll find. Yeah, this one too was Decolonizing Demise. Decolonizing Demise. As I said, his character speaks to our past and present in the ways that Western texts never do. Educational institutions in Kenya, across Africa, I mean Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, where I come from, and beyond, have increasingly woven in Ngugi wa Thiong'o literature into national curriculum. As I said, I read this book, Weep Not Child, when I was in secondary school back days. Weep Not Child, this book, this cover book here. That was one of our literature book back days. Weep Not Child. You can see the cover wall, and all my watchers can go and look for this book. This one is, really a great book. His influences has also reached global academies, with universities in the UK and US offering specialized courses on his work, hailing him as a what? As a cornerstone of post-colonial thought. Ngugi novels, challenges students to think beyond the surface. If you read some of his books, you can see that, his novels challenge all students across the world to think beyond the surface. And he doesn't just tell stories, he deconstructs systems of power, language, and oppression. That's a powerful tool in education system in every country, both Africa, Europe, and America. And one of Ngungu's most revolutionary decisions was to abandon English in favor of Kikuyu. I mean, Kenyan language, his native language I'm talking about. His bold move sparked continent-wide conversation about the role of indigenous languages in education and identity. Language is not neutral. Ngugi taught us that. He said in one of his interviews that, I mean, uh, how can I put it? He showed us that the language we use in education shapes how we see ourselves. Yes. One of his interviews, he said this, that language we use in Africa in our education systems shapes how we see ourselves, because we use the colonial language that tell us we are inferior to everything that we do. In rural classrooms, Mr. Watiango's use of African idioms, settling the theme that has made literature more accessible and relatable for students across Africa. Brothers and sisters, let's find out and know more about this great man. And Ngugi works has also become powerful, as I can see. It has become powerful too in civic education. His novel, like Devil on the Cross, for instance, is used by teachers to exploit themes of corruption. Devil on the Cross. This book I've read before is used by many teachers or many, pastors. I mean, to show out the corrupt nature of politicians and the elite African leaders. His influence extends well beyond the classroom across Africa. And many African nations have, clubs for Ngugi Watiango, fan clubs, and so on. His works, as I said, inspires poetry, spoken word, and debate activities across Africa that foster creativity and community engagement. In every Ngugi novel, there's a classroom, said, one interview and one teacher. So, brothers and sisters, we can read more about this great man, Ngugi Watiango, and we can see here when he started school. Over here, we can see that Ngugi Watiango in uh, 1967, he taught 1967 here. We can also watch at this one. Let's find out more, as I can see, let's find out more about this great man, his works, and how he helps Africa. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much for watching. And as I said, do not forget to subscribe and follow, comment too. Thank you once again. As I said, I may recommend each and every one to look for this kind book here, Weep Not Child, in Jorige, Weep Not Child. That was a great book when I was in secondary school. Thank you. We shall meet again.